Afternoon, everybody. Kendal here. For conscious water, not conscious coffee. Can't drink coffee at this time of the day, that's for sure. Or else, I don't know, cause anxiety or something. Actually, I don't know. I don't have too much of a reaction to coffee at any time of the day. Except for in the morning, when I really, really enjoy it, that's always good. And that's why I drink coffee in the morning. Because I really, really enjoy it. But I was sitting here, and it's just such a beautiful day out in Texas, and just sitting out in my backyard and just enjoying the stillness, the peacefulness in this moment, and thinking about some of the stuff that I just was scrolling through Facebook, and my sister-in-law had posted something, and then I had a conversation earlier about judgments and non-judgments and handling situations, and then I also had another conversation going yesterday with somebody around, being judgmental and what that, like what does that mean, and how do we really critique each other, right? Because judgment is laying criticism, laying our thoughts, opinions onto somebody else, as though what we believe or what we think is right and true, and somebody else's viewpoint, opinion, action, feeling about something is not accurate because it's not in alignment to ours. So then we judge based on our perception, right? So I was thinking about that, and my conversation earlier about it was, just like sometimes there's just a lot of negative stuff going on, and some, people in different ways, they do tend to hurt us. And they may not consciously intend on hurting us. They may not even act, consciously thinking what the long-term results of something might be in their actions. But at the end of the day, in all relationship, we do end up having disputes, issues in that relationship. And then we also have different events in our lives that are just negative, right? And this time of the year, as beautiful as this time is, and we get caught up on, this Christmas joy and giving gifts and love and connection and family, and yes, and the whole meaning behind Christmas, right? And that merry cheer. So we get caught up in our religious perspectives, and especially around family connection and love and the acts of giving unconditionally, supposedly, right? But then as we also look into this time of the year, there is a lot of sadness, a lot of depression, a lot of darkness, a lot of anger that occurs in supposedly the merriest months of the year that are all focused on love and giving and sharing and connection. And yet here we are as a society, and especially this year, I know for myself, even, it just doesn't feel like Christmas. It's just like this year is just a different year. It's just the Christmas, is just not there. I didn't even decorate my house that much this year. But I'm going to be busy and some travel coming up, so that's also the reason why not a lot of decoration. But overall, there's just not a whole lot of Christmas energy going on. And even in years past, when you look at November, December, January, some of the highest months for suicide, some of the highest months for divorce, some of the highest months for breakups, some of the highest months for, different just abuse happening, physical violence happening, domestic violence, right? These are the 3 months that get hit pretty hard. So why is it? Well, a lot of it has to do with judgment, with our criticisms and viewpoints, our perception on other people and what they're doing and how they're living and why they're saying and doing the things that they're doing, and how it does not align to what we want. So earlier conversation went with the whole concept of the one thing you can be guaranteed in this world when dealing with people, which we all do, is that people, including ourselves, will always act according to their best interest, whatever they think their best interest is in any given moment. Does not mean that it is their best interest. It just means that we act from a place of what we feel is what we want, what we desire, what we need, in that moment. Okay? And you might say, oh, no, I'm a planner, I'm a this, I'm a that. Yeah, even for the best planners out there in the world, still tend to act hastily, and things can go kind of astray. I mean, think of it. That's why fights happen. That's why we say words that we don't. We say, oh, I didn't mean that. Oh, it was the alcohol. Oh, I was just so angry. I didn't really, like that. Oh, it was a Freudian slip. Yeah. All that stuff. No. That's all anger, pain, sadness. That is buried down there, and it ends up coming up. We also take action and do things in our world based on what's going to make us feel good in that moment. Like drinking too much, right? You can say, oh, I didn't really mean to hit her. Oh, I really didn't mean to do this. Oh, I didn't intend on sleeping with that person. I was drunk. I was partying. I was doing this. And we push it off on something outside of ourselves as if that makes it okay, because we have this excuse, this reason there, right? So we do that. But then what is it? We're still taking this action. Well, why do we take that action? It was actually there. Now, abuse comes from a place of actually deep pain and anger inside, not typically toward the person, but toward self, and it is acting out on another person because we are not happy with self. The same thing goes for when we have affairs. The same thing goes for when we, lie and cheat on different ways and tell stories. This is all that we are not comfortable at our core in standing who we are. Instead, we tend to go and act like, oh, that'll make me feel a little bit better. Oh, that's a little bit of an adrenaline rush. Oh, that feels good right there. Oh, that's going to take the stress off for a moment. Oh, that's going to be this, or that's going to be that. And we have all these reasons and excuses as to why we do, why we think, and why we feel the way that we do. And what happens? Well, it's inevitable, especially in the land of not being truthful, right? Whatever that might look like, or in the land of, bad shit happening. Let's say, physical violence or drinking too much or accidents or things like that. And then we have other people. So let's say that a bad act has occurred to us individually. How do we handle that? Well, it's a dark cloud, right? There's a dark cloud that comes, and this negative act, this painful act, maybe this act of anger, whatever it is, happens to us from an outside source. Now, I'm not saying just roll over and be like, okay, whatever, right? But even Jesus was speaking about turning the other cheek. Well, all of that just simply means to look at things from a different perspective, okay? That doesn't mean that you have to go running back to that person or being passive with them and just letting them overtake you, run over your boundaries. Absolutely not. But what it does mean is to try to look at things from a more non-judgmental perspective instead of looking at it from the wound that we're in. Now, granted, in the middle of it, we can't really do that, right? If we're in the wound, we're in the wound. Own it, you're in the wound. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself mourn it. Let yourself embrace it. But I can promise you that every single bad thing that has ever happened to you, everything that has happened as far as somebody doing something to you, your partner who cheated on you, your business partner that stole money from you, your kids that lied to you, your best friend that's just whatever to you, right? The physical, the emotional, the mental, the financial, all of those things. There can be some really, really bad things that can happen, right? And even the things that that can happen that seemingly nobody has done, but it's just bad luck. Maybe it's bad health that you're suffering with, right? And you look at it and you're like, damn, maybe this happened. Maybe that happened. For what reason? Well, there's a reason for it. There's definitely silver lining it. And it's through the non-judgment that we actually get to see the silver in the lining. And I say that because, I was thinking about some different stuff occurring, and I was thinking back to a while ago. A friend of mine shared a story with me about a friend, a friend cheating on them, and with their partner. So there was this cheating on them with their partner, and it was mild cheating. You could say a soft cheat. Okay, so we're talking flirting and kissing and that kind of stuff. No actual sex happening, but there was definitely a crossover, a breaching of the relationship that occurred. And what did that do? Well, you can take it from a judgy perspective, and you can feel pain, and you can feel the hurt, and you can get mad, and you can break up the relationship, and you can do all of this. Or you can take it from the I was told this, and this was where they were at, was they were told that this happened. They hadn't actually seen it. There was no physical evidence of it. They were told about it. So what they ended up doing was they tried to take a little bit more of a non-judgmental perspective of it, and they just started to witness. They just started to pay attention. They started to watch. So to become consciously aware of what was going on in the energy and the relationships, so that they could make a decision for their own instead of just attacking. Because when we get into attack mode on anything, we're blinded by our anger. Ego steps in, we get blinded, we cannot learn the lessons in that moment, we cannot find the beauty in that moment, we will not find the path that is actually taking us on. And I can tell you that's exactly what's going on. When something like that happens, you are being given a doorway to your path. Okay? So what this person ended up doing was just kind of appearing a little bit passive about it, kind of like nonchalant. I'm not going to do anything, because it wasn't a humongous event. It wasn't like there was physical violence going on. This was just a tell that, hey, this happened. This is what we thought happened. And so witnessing occurred, and then time happened. And throughout it all, what it ended up doing was revealing a whole bunch of different breaches and different things that needed to become aware to this person. And so what this person got the opportunity of doing was to actually witness both of those other people with a little bit more truth, because of the conscious bring in around this one subject. So it was actually a blessing. Instead of acting in on this and taking aggressive moves, breaking up our relationships, because that's what would have happened. No, instead, there was a witnessing and a sight into the relationships even deeper for other subject areas of the relationships. So that's pretty powerful. Yeah? You might think, oh, I'm getting screwed up. I'm getting screwed right here. What if you find out that you were getting screwed in multiple areas? Or what if you find out that maybe you just couldn't really lean in and trust that person because, they were floundering inside themselves and nothing really happened, but they were just uncertain inside themselves for whatever reason, insecurities, what have you, right? And then you have the other case where, a couple years ago, everybody knows that I had a messy breakup with a man, and, 8-9 year relationship, and it ended up with physical violence, where I ended up with my leg totally busted up, and this was the only digit that was working on out of the 10. Okay, this was it. I did all my work with this happy little thumb right here for about 2 months, and my leg was messed up, and I was in pain, and I was angry, and I was hurt, and I was scared, and I felt abandoned, and I felt all of this crap, because it was a really, really dark 90 minutes of my life. And that's how quickly my life changed. It took 90 minutes for my life to change. But do you know, if you gave me the option of, you can go back to that life, you can go back to that path, you can have that, and that never occurred, and you can just go back into that house, that relationship, that this, that, or have the life that I have today and the relationship that I have today, I will take the physical pain and the emotional pain that occurred in that 90 minutes over going back to that relationship, because I was in a place where I was stuck. I wasn't seeing, I wasn't feeling. I had numbed myself out so much to my life and to my relationship in that moment that I didn't even register that things were not healthy. Okay, I was blind to my own crap and to the relationship crap and to my partner and what was going on with him and how sad and how upset he was and how we no longer aligned. And I'm one of those people that when I'm committed, I'm committed. And if I'm not committed, well, then I'm not committed. But when I'm committed, I am hardcore committed. And I was very hardcore committed in that relationship for multiple reasons. So I was blind to a lot of different things. So it took a drastic move to push me to my path, to my happier, better self, to my elevated life, and to a fucking amazing relationship, right? So what I have today would not exist had I not had that dark spot. Now here's the thing. Even in the midst of it, I was mad for a couple weeks. I was in shock and mad and hurt. But because I was so I guess you could say, armored up in that time, I also was kind of unfeeling towards a lot of things. And that unfeeling worked in my favor because it allowed me to be pretty non-judgmental and not be overly reactive to the situation. And that's what we have to look for. Are we being reactive? Because when we get into that reactive state, that's where the judgment comes in. That's when we try to gain control over the other person, gain control of the situation, and it doesn't work out. That's where we start to just end up battling, and we cause more resistance to all the good things instead of opening up and letting it move the way it needs to move, right? And I can tell you that I look back at that particular situation and even more recent ones where I know that I appear like a passive person, like, that's, and I'm quiet about things and I'm a little bit more just like lenient. And it's not that I'm being weak. It's not that I'm being lenient on it and that I don't have an opinion. It's just that I'm choosing to witness and to watch and to feel and to get my guidance from it and let it move my course into what I really truly want. Because I know, and here's what you have to realize, is that you have to know at your core what you want. And if you know what you want, sometimes those directional changes are going to feel like some really bumpy roads. They're going to be a little scary. They're going to be those one lane, dirt roads going up a mountain like this and a ledge that's straight down. You're going to feel like if you drive off, you're going to die. But if you know what you want, you will always get guided to it. It's just how much course direction do you actually need? And can you be pretty much non-judgmental to that course direction, having faith that that course direction is actually leading you exactly where you want to go, exactly where you need to go, exactly where your desires are, where your true happiness is, where the love is, where the finances are, where the well-being is, where everything that you're looking for. It's finding the blessings in the storm, right? And that's what it is. It's finding those blessings. But if you want to find the blessings in any storm that's going on in your life, realize that it's going to come through being a little less non-reactive, non-judgmental, a little less vocally opinionated about it, and going more into what I call the witness state, where you hit that pause button, you breathe it in, you watch, and you go, the one thing I can always be guaranteed of is that every person on this planet is going to do what they feel is best for them in any given moment. So we might like to say, oh, that person's got my back, and oh, I know that person would never hurt me, and oh, I know that person would never lie to me, and I know. I'm not trying to tell you don't trust anybody, because you have to have great trust. But we have to also realize is that even with the most trust, every single person at the end of the day, for their own best interest, and especially those who are not doing their work, who don't understand to do that internal engineering work so that they can be in alignment with their core. For the average everyday people out there, like 80+% of the population, guess what? They're going to be reactive. They're going to act from ego. They're going to think that it's love. They're going to think that it's compassion. They're going to think that it's giving, that it's sharing. They're going to think that they're doing what's right. And you're going to be able to tell, because they're going to be like, oh no, I did it because of, and then they're going to start pointing fingers to all those outside sources, and they're not going to be able to go within and say, I did this because I knew that this was true and in alignment to myself. I knew this was true and in alignment to my soul, it made me feel really, truly good at a good level, and I have no regrets, no fear, no holdbacks. Because you can say, oh yeah, I don't regret it. And then I encourage you to ask yourself, is that true? Would you want what you've done to you? And that's what it is. Due to, your neighbor, as you would have done to you, right? Well, a lot of the times we make actions that we would never want done to us. We wouldn't think it was fair. And if the tides were turned, that would make us mad. And then we'd be even more reactive because it was happening to us. But that's what we tend to do sometimes to others, right? And the unconscious person, that low vibing soul, is going to do that consistently and not be able to come at anything from that place of true non-judgment and open, authentic love, unconditional love. It's going to come from a place of control, of a needing to control the situation to get what they want. So I ask you today, where are you being judgmental? Who are you being judgmental about? What situation are you looking at and only focusing in on the negative? How could you look at it a little bit differently? Why do you feel that you need to be so aggressive towards something to try to force an event to happen, or to try to force your will on others? How is that actually serving you? How's it serving your overall picture of life? How's it really truly making you happy in the long term? What does that truly say about who you are and where you're at? And how would you want to be treated in any situation? And then, if you've got some shit coming at you, how are you looking at it? Can you look past it? Can you actually see where some of the potential beauty is, and how that could be a potential doorway to take you to exactly where you want to be? Because that's exactly what it's there for. You just have to breathe it in, hit the pause button, go into witness status, come right here into your core. I really feel, look with a grander scope at your life and at any event, and I can tell you, you're going to find out that there's magic happening all the time. Okay, I think I'm done. Yeah, I am. There are 2 events happening in January. So you can go to www.kendalwilliams.com on events tab. If you are local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, know that there are 2 absolutely magnificent workshops coming up. One is focused in on quantum energy work that I teach, which is kind of like my little magic show, teaching you how to be a powerhouse of energy and how to actually play with that energy and move it throughout your body to create even full body orgasms and beautiful connection and depth, healing, you name it. It can all come from that. And then we also have another workshop coming up. I believe it's the following week. So it's like the 9th and the 16th or something like that. And that workshop is our Tantra Reboot, where we teach the basics of Tantra, the truth around Tantra, and teach you in a very experiential fashion exactly how you can reboot your life in a few short hours and completely transform so that you can have a fuck yes 2021. Okay, guys, other than that, reach out to me if you want to know about anything else, and I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee.